The NBA has a credibility problem as it relates to feeding the Los Angeles Lakers generational talent year after year after year. I know people out in LA like Steve Kim that are huge Lakers fans think this is, of course, feed the Lakers. We need this out in Los Angeles. We don't care about the rest of the NBA. People like Steve Kim think this is normal, par for the course. I think this is a final straw for NBA fans and sports fans to say, hey, man, this makes no sense. Steve, welcome back. I just want to start there. The feeding of the Lakers and how it undermines the credibility of the entire league. Agree or disagree?
Do I think that there's an issue? Yes. Is there a question of credibility and the balance of the league? Yes. But Mr. Whitlock, it's just maddening how you conveniently leave off what happened in 2011 when the Lakers wanted to just add a point guard. And David Stern, great commissioner, I didn't agree with him here, vetoed the trade. So what do you have to say to that situation? What is your rebuttal to
that? One time, David Stern said, hey, you know what? This isn't worth the hassle. This is Chris Paul. Nice player, but the blowback we'll get for feeding the Lakers this time, a nice player, a 6'2" point guard, it's just not worth it. But for LeBron James, Paul Gasol, Shaquille O'Neal, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and now Luka Doncic, yeah, this is worth it. And so you brought me to my point. My overall point here is that David Stern said, nah, this ain't worth it. It's going to damage our credibility. I'm going to veto this trade. Well, and that's exactly what Adam Silver should have done here. This trade is too lopsided. It's unfair. It's going to piss off Dallas Mavericks fans. It's going to make this league look scripted and corrupt. Hey, guys, you got to sweeten up this trade. This doesn't pass the smell test.
Oh, so this trade is going to make people think that this league is scripted and corrupted. Just this. This is the tipping point. Get right here. What happened on February 1st, 2025. Jason, you're leaving something out about Chris Paul. He wasn't just 6'2". He's also like an 11-time All-Star Hall of Famer, probably among the top, 5 or 6 point guards of all time. He was a little bit better than that. He wasn't just Terry Porter. Give me a break. The other thing is, some of these other moves, LeBron James coming to the Lakers. Jason, you do realize the Lakers were about the 4th team he's been on, right? Look, it's obvious that he wanted to come to our city for business reasons and other agendas. But to make it sound like that there was this whole movement to have him become a Laker, well, if that was the case, it would have happened really a lot sooner than he did. Okay? So the other thing is, I don't know if we want to get into that, but I don't know if Luka Doncic is really worth the hassle. That's what and again, I'll let you know what I think about him later, but I'm not exactly sure we're getting Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or a Shaq O'Neal, to be quite frank with you. I really don't.
For a point that I'm going to unpack a little bit later, it's irrelevant whether he's worth it or not. Now, we can have that discussion right now in terms of, let's say he's not worth it. You still don't make this trade. The Dallas Mavericks still don't make this trade. The guy's a 5-time first-team All-NBA player. He's one of the 3 or 4 best players in the league. You don't trade him to one single team. You offer him up to the league and see if you can get a Herschel Walker type deal. You try to get a bunch of draft picks if you're really building your franchise. Again, this is why I make the argument like, this undermines the credibility of the league. The Dallas Mavericks clearly aren't really concerned about the future of their franchise. Them and the league seem most concerned about, hey, we need a big show in Los Angeles.
Okay, well, I have a question. Let's say you trade him, and let's say it was Portland or Cleveland or Minnesota that offers him the Herschel Walker trade. right? That equivalent. There's almost no guarantee he would re-sign with those teams. There's no franchise in the world that's going to give up that much to get a rental. Okay. And if it was just about the big markets, how come New York can't ever get these guys? Isn't New York kind of important? Isn't that a big media market? I don't get this, but again, you have to understand, Luka is only got. There are certain players that are only going to stay long term with certain teams.
Steve, this isn't a question about market. It's a question about, as it relates to the East Coast, most people believe Boston. That's the New York of the NBA. That Red Auerbach and what he and Bill Russell put together made Boston the most important team on the East Coast. And the NBA, some people would argue, favors the Boston Celtics because of that. You know, look, Larry Bird ending up on the Celtics, trading for Robert Parrish and somehow getting the third pick, which turns into Kevin McHale, that's a little sketchy as well. Boston handles the East. Well, some people would argue that. My memory, I can't go all the way back that far in terms of where I felt on that. But again, as it relates to Magic Johnson ending up with the Lakers and Larry Bird ending up with Boston, I just don't think that's a coincidence. I just don't think that. And so the NBA takes care of the Lakers and Boston, and they don't really concern themselves with New York because that Boston legacy had already been built. And so in order to maintain this East Coast, West Coast balance, it's about the Boston Celtics. It's not about the New York Knicks. Just don't have the history to build around, and so that's why they don't hand. And oh my God, hold it! Oh my God, you just reminded me. I'm so glad you reminded me. Let's don't kid ourselves and pretend like the NBA has never taken care of the New York Knicks. I'm an Indiana Pacer fan that got stuck with Steve Stepanovich rather than Patrick Ewing because of the frozen, bent envelope. You're old enough to remember that?
Oh God, I want to call you Black Oliver Stone. Good grief! I'm expecting a third bullet from the grassy knoll this show. Couple things here. The ingenuity of Red Auerbach and Jerry West is really what drove all of this. The Magic Johnson draft came down to a coin flip, and the Bulls called heads, and I think it went tails, and they got David Greenwood. Magic Johnson became a Laker. Now, as it related to Larry Bird, again, the foresight of Red Auerbach, he actually drafted him as a junior eligible.